Hi, I'm John Pallone, and I want to thank you for joining us for another segment of City Spotlight. Today, we're very glad to have with us Dominick Saldida, who's our new Public Safety Director here in Long Branch. Dominick, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Mayor. Thank you for having me here today. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Let me ask you, now you had told me when we first met that you, as a teenager, were here in Long Branch. Tell us about that. I know you live down in Toms River, but what was your experience with Long Branch years ago?
Well, Mayor, that's pretty good you remember that. Years and years ago, as a young child, my dad, being from a Portuguese community and coming to this country in the late 50s, the place that we used to come to visit the shore was Long Branch, New Jersey. And it was pretty amazing that we used to come to President's Beach here in Long Branch and enjoy our summers as little guys here. And growing up and coming back and seeing Long Branch, how beautiful it is today and how it's grown throughout the years, it's really, really impressive.
So I know you were born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, and obviously had a 30-year career there. How'd you get interested in law enforcement? How did that come about? Did you always want to do that from when you were young?
After watching, the police officers in my community, as they used to drive up in their police car and get out of the car, talk to the kids, come into the playground, play some ball with us, really looked like, something I wanted to do. And I always had the feeling that community service is what I wanted to do in my life. And when I got the opportunity, I took that police test. And I was very fortunate throughout the years to do well there. I did get promoted quickly throughout the ranks. And basically, finished off my career in charge of the agency, where I did a lot of good for the community and for the officers that worked for the agency.
I know you're being a little humble, but actually you were the head of day-to-day operations as a deputy chief in Newark when you retired. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you had about 1,800 sworn officers. But what was very interesting to us was, this idea of community service. So, being in a position as a deputy chief, you never lost sight, when I spoke with you, with the people and the importance of all your officers getting involved, getting out there in the community. Is that what you want to bring to Long Branch? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Thank you, Mayor. That's a really good question for me. I have never lost interest in the community from day one when I was sworn in as a law enforcement officer till today, sitting here in Long Branch as your public safety director. I think the most important way to really do your job and know what's going on in your community is to be out there with the day-to-day, with the people, knowing what they're about, listening to their complaints, understanding why they're complaining, bringing them closer into the agency, whether it's the police department or fire department, to understand how we work on a daily basis, and give them the opportunity to give us some insight. Listen, maybe this is not going well for you guys. Maybe you should look at something and go in this direction. I'm welcome to that. The most important thing to me is really reaching out. I mean, COVID has put a little damper on that for me right now, but I am a person that loves to come out to the community, shake hands, listen to what's going on, help out, and just be part of the fabric that makes up Long Branch.
You had been a public safety director in both East Orange and in Dover. Tell us a little bit about what a public safety director does.
A public safety director is responsible for the agencies under his control, which in Long Branch and other towns, it's usually the police department, fire department, Office of Emergency Management. What I do is I supervise and oversee the daily operations of both or all three agencies to make sure that those people in charge, whether it's the police chief, fire chief, or OEM coordinator, is actively doing what they need to bring services to the community. We also, as public safety directors, oversee the discipline of the agency. That means if complaints are made from the outside, from citizens, we take a look at it directly and take it over to the internal affairs division of the agency to see if there was any misconduct. Discipline falls on the office of the public safety director, so I take that very seriously. I am very transparent when it comes to that. I make sure that the community and everyone involved knows exactly what's going on step by step. I also create policy and procedures for the agency to make things run in a more transparent and open way of doing business here in the city of Long Branch.
What do you want people to know about you?
I'm very easy to get along with. If you're from the Portuguese or Latino community, I can communicate with you one-on-one. It opens up a lot more doors, especially around the world of law enforcement, and it brings a comfort level to the community that they have somebody they can reach out to. I am the person that you want to invite to anything that you're having, whether it's a church function, whether it's a community function, whether it's a meeting, whether in a tenant organization, whether it's a merchants organization. I am the guy that will come out and sit with you and come up with ideas that can make Long Branch a better city and your community a lot better to live in.
Dominick, can you talk to us about your experience working with diverse communities and what your approach would be here in Long Branch?
Working in diverse communities like a melting pot, you're dealing with everyone. Being able to be transparent and to be approachable, to have that listening ear that they need is very important. And I plan on doing the same thing here in Long Branch. Being trilingual gives me the opportunity to reach out to certain communities, like the Portuguese, Brazilian, Latino community, for example. They will have the opportunity to feel more comfortable and reach out to me in their own language so that we can help them in any way we can.
Dominick, how can people, organizations, or individuals reach out and get in touch with you?
My office number is going to be 732-571-5691. I have a city cell phone that I can be reached at, 732-443-7322. And also the central number for the city of Long Branch that goes directly through the police department dispatching is 732-222-1000, and you'll be directed from there. I can also be reached by email. My email address is dsaldida, that's DSALDIDA @longbranch.org.
Well, thank you, Director Saldida, for joining us today. I must tell you, we just hear a lot of positive things about you, and from my own personal perspective, it's been a pleasure working with you so far. I'd like to thank all the residents and all our viewers for tuning in today for another segment of City Spotlight. Thank you.